But I found that the pugs generally, because they're smaller, they're already pretty confident. They're a pretty confident breed. They're not really, none of them that I've photographed have been scared of the flash or the sound of the camera. So that's been brilliant. They also have short little smushy faces. So my focus is always brilliant. I don't have to worry about, I have a sausage dog, you know what I mean? I'm focused on the end of her nose and her eyes drop out in the focus. So I'm like, the fact that their faces are flat, unreal.
Hello, humans and puggies. Welcome to the Pug Life Show, brought to you by Pug Parties. Because your pug deserves to be the best dressed at the party. And you can check out the pug-fitting, harness and toilet-friendly Pugs and Stripes collection at pugparties.com. I'm your host, Donna, and with me are my puggy co-hosts, Rosie and Kenji, with their rescue foster brother, Buster. In today's episode, we're talking with pet photographer Tori from TD Pet Studios about the wonderfully wrinkled world of pet/pug portraits. From their expressive eyes to their comical charm, pugs are a photographer's dream and sometimes a bit of a nightmare. Whether you're a seasoned pet photographer or just pug-curious, this episode is packed with stories and surprising insights into what it takes to capture our little cuties on film to be shared with the unsuspecting world of non-pug pawrents whenever we get the chance. Or is that just me? But before we zoom in, don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter. You'll find the link in the show notes so you can be the first to know when the next episode lands and get access to lots more pugtastic goodies. Hello, Tori. Thank you so much for coming on the Pug Life Show to talk about what is obviously something that you love doing and that pug pawrents love doing, which is taking photos of our pugs.
Of course. I love all of it. I'm here. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you. So you are the owner of TD Pet Studio, and for those listeners who also follow us on Instagram, the first photos you ever took of Rosie, Kenji, and Buster are pinned to the top of our feed. So please go and have a look. I loved them so much. It was just, I've worked with a number of photographers over the years, and I am amazed at how quickly you managed to capture their personality, like Rosie's little diva-ish and Buster's like, I'm just off in my own little world. And Kenji, who gets very intent for some reason, like he refuses to smile. I just don't know what it is.
I bet they're all like that. That's the best part about them. They all have their own weird little unique, quirky things that they do. And like it's hard because obviously you have to get it quickly because they're animals and they're not going to just sit and wait for as long as you possibly want. They're like, no, I want the treat and I want to go play with my friends and I want to get out of here. They're not interested in like performing for us constantly. So
unless you own a diva.
Yes.
Which is Rosie.
Yes.
And I've also got a friend, Jo, Bessie. Rosie and Bessie do very well. We used to have photo shoots years ago now, but Bessie would crack the shits if she saw somebody else getting their photo taken, even though she just had her photo taken. So she'd be at the gate barking and like, what do you mean you're not taking it? And I actually need to find that footage because it was so funny. She'd literally just been stuffed full of treats and had a photo and then roll in the next pug for their next photo. And she was like, wait a minute, you can take more photos of me. Like, how many other dogs have you had that have been that diva-y?
There's definitely been a few, and it's because they're so well rehearsed. They know that where the treats are coming from, and they go, if I listen to this person, she might actually feed me. Whereas, I don't know, you might be at Bark Park, I've been at a Jenny's shop on Fitzroy Street in St Kilda. People aren't necessarily always there for you. They're there for other reasons. So as soon as they know that you're the treat lady, they're like, yeah, okay, cool, I'll come back.
I love it. Look, we'll get into that. First off, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your fur family and how you got into pet portraits of all things.
All right. Well, I'm Tori Davies from TD Pet Studios. I've always loved photography ever since I was young. We had a family pet, a family dog when I was growing up. And I remember the first camera I ever got, I would try and take pictures of her. She was one of those dogs that was just absolutely not interested. Anytime a camera was pointed at her, she would be looking away. She would be absolutely devastated that I had a camera out. That like super sooky face. She was like, no, I'm not having a bar of this. So after that, I was like, "Okay, cool. I guess I'll move on to the human talent and things like that, see if I can work with models that actually wanna work with me too." But I remember regretting that I didn't get the best photos of her because now that she's not here with me, it's one of those things where
Mhm.
you can have photos on your phone and you can have them running around and playing and doing silly things, and that's all still beautiful and means something to you, but I wanted a portrait that I could put on my wall that was just her, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I feel regret that I didn't get to have that. And I have my little Frankie the Frankfurt now, and I did also have a second snag, Nina the Wiener, and I have some beautiful photos of Nina, which I'm really grateful for. But even then, she ended up having IVDD, and
Oh,
I
no.
sent her through surgery, and there was about 6 months of recovery period for her that she now didn't get better, and then they wanted to send her in for a second surgery, but I couldn't make her do it again.
Do it
She
again.
hadn't recovered from the first, and it was
Mm.
too much for her. And Frankie obviously was sad that she's missing her friend, but
Mm.
he's quite independent, and I've found that she's almost kinda happy being alone in a weird
Having
way.
having been the sole doghouse owner.
Exactly. Yeah. So she was upset at first and a bit confused, like, "Why is no one crash
Mm.
tackling me in the middle of the lounge room? I don't understand this." But then after a while, she's very much eased back into, "Okay, cool, this is my house, and I like my space, and I like laying in my sunbeam and not being bothered every 2 seconds by my sister." So I have my little Frankie as well. But yeah, basically got into fashion, e-com, and, other kinds of photography like that. I did a bit of, like, commercial and, wedding photography as well, but none of that really, like, feels as fun or as good as shooting pets because obviously pets are just the most important things to us. We don't deserve dogs, they're
Oh,
brilliant.
yes.
So, yeah, I've am currently still working in photography Monday through Friday in a studio. So I do apparel and footwear photography with talent and things like that
Mm.
every other day of the week, but weekends are the days that I'm really trying to, like, hone in on my pet photography thing. Because, like I said, I feel like everyone deserves to have a proper portrait of their dog. They might be doing something stupid, they might not, they might just look sitting there beautifully and just looking like a little angel. Whatever it is, just as long as you have something of substance, because I feel like I said, there's just so many photos you can get on your phone, and you'll have a
Mhm.
whole cloud full of all of these images and this data, but none of them are the same as getting a proper portrait, having something, like,
I
real
agree.
and quality like that. So, yeah, I'm trying to make it a bit more accessible for people by doing it as, like, a pop-up style thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, and it's absolutely spectacular. And I agree with you with the regret. My first pug, Fat Dog,
Yeah.
um, rescued him when he was 7, and I have the lump sum total of about 5 photos of him. Because of course, I'm so old, 20 years ago, there was no such thing as,
Yeah.
cameras on phones, and I used to just live in the moment with him. So, even to get his portrait painted, I had to collect all these blurry photos, and then I had this great one photo of his actual face on his first Christmas with us.
Yeah.
And my friend who painted the portrait said, "I hope you don't mind, I'm gonna have to take some poetic license." And I'm like, "Absolutely," because let's face it, I have that picture in my mind of what he was like, but I just didn't carry a camera around. It was unusual for me to do that. So when Winston Churchill, Charles Kingsford Smith came into our lives, they definitely had more photos taken of them, without a doubt,
Yeah.
in the thousands. And same thing again, didn't oh, no, we got when they first come to us, we had one set of professional photos done because we went, "So regret not doing it with Fat Dog, we're going to do it this time." And so but only got it because they were 2 when we adopted them, and we had them for 10 and 11 years. So we should have done it again, like, so we had sort of those progression.
Progression. Yeah.
Yeah, so sort of like because Winston was black and he had little grey
Please.
whiskers, and because when we adopted him, he was still quite overweight, we were still getting the weight down, so I would have liked to have had, and Charles was the other end of the scale, he was still quite emaciated, so it would have been nice to have had photos of them as sort of adult dogs
Mm.
looking healthy and vital.
Yeah.
Um and then sort of same thing again, like we've got photos of them that we took a couple of days before they both passed, and they're photos that we absolutely love. But same thing again, it would have been nice to sort of have the senior whiskers
Yeah.
and all those extra little wrinkle folds and
Yeah.
and all of that sort of stuff. And so
Yeah.
um
part of
we're so
their
glad.
little lives that they've lived. You know, they
I
have so
know.
much. Yeah.
Because I'm a firm believer that wrinkles on my face are a testament to the life I've lived.
Yeah.
And if that's the case with my pugs, they've lived a damn good life with me at least. So
Love it.
I loved it. So you've done 2 lots of Rosie, Kenji, and Buster since this year. So we had the ones a few months ago, which are pinned up, and then you just took their Halloween photos,
Halloween. Mm.
which will actually we're putting them out next week. So they will. And again, to be honest, I thought your first round of photos were like luck. I thought
Oh.
you just got them on a really good day. But I am happy to say that I was wrong because even their Halloween photos were just so great. And I think Buster looks by far the best out of all 3 of them.
But also so well dressed too. Like, you
Yes,
have to take some
great
credit. They were
costumes.
the costumes were iconic.
They were doing very well. So they're not even twitching listening to us talking about them. That's how used to having their photos taken. It's just incredible.
Mm.
So we better get to some actual serious questions because I know that it's one of the like it's talked about a lot at Playgroup about how the hell do you get that photo, but it's pet photography must be different to human portrait photography in so many ways. Like I've watched you, and obviously you don't need a squeaky toy to get my attention usually. But I imagine it's quite similar to children, like the old adage of never work with children and pets.
Yeah.
Is the photography quite similar?
Um,
Or the process, I should say.
for kids and dogs, it absolutely is. For pets, it's 100%. You're not supposed to work with them because it's always chaos. But I think I kind of enjoy the chaos a little bit. I've found that when I'm working with talent and when I'm working with just real humans, I guess, as well, not even necessarily professional models. Professional models in themselves they're generally very good. They know how to hold themselves. They've
Yeah.
trained in this, and that's why they're professionals, you know? When you're shooting regular people, no one wants a picture of themselves. Everyone hates a picture of themselves. You can take the best picture of someone and they'll still look at it and be like, "Oh, that's my bad side." Like, they always hate it. Whereas the pets just don't know. They just think that they're having a fun time, getting treats, doing silly things. They might do a couple of tricks. The pets are definitely, in a weird way, easier than regular humans because they're not critical of how they look after you've taken the photo. They're just excited to be there. Whereas, yeah, humans, not so much. I also think that when it comes to kids, because I do a lot of kid photography, a few of the brands that I work with do things on David Jones and Maya. And so we shoot like
Mhm.
Peter Rabbit babies and
Oh,
little kids
yes.
wearing Bluey and stuff like that. And everyone's always running around being feral. Everyone that I work with over there has also said the same thing. They've said that, oh, it's like impressive that you can get the kids like looking happy and having a fun time. And I think it's the idea that there should be no pressure on kids and pets.
Mm.
If you have professional talent in the studio, absolutely. There's a little bit of pressure. You've got X amount of garments to get through.
Yeah.
There's particular looks that they have to pull off, and that makes sense because they're meeting a brand and the direction for the brand. But kids are just kids and pets are just pets. So no matter what happens, they're going to look the way that they're going to look, and you can't really do all that much about it. So I think that you have to just embrace that and you have to let them have a bit of fun. Otherwise, you're going to see the sourpuss face no matter
Oh,
what.
yes.
You know, they're going to be cranky because they don't want to be there. There's definitely a few dogs that I've had up on the table that they've been like, "This is the vet. This woman is
Oh,
definitely like, this is not fun. I
Well,
don't know why I'm up here."
because last weekend when we had the Halloween party, there was a Frenchie that I think I saw jumped off 3 times. He was like,
He was like, "I'm out of here. I'm not doing this." So,
"Yep."
like, it's definitely the setup. It can be a detriment to the process for me sometimes, but I am trying to contain a few. So I found that the majority are pretty happy being up there, which is good. But there are the select few that are like, "Absolutely not. Get me out of here. This is horrible." And I'm like, "I'm so sorry. Well, that's okay because, like I said, you're a pet. You're just going to run away. We'll give it
Yeah.
a crack a couple of times and see if you're like, okay, cool. Like I'm getting the hang of this up here. This is fine. I'm not at the vet. We're okay."
Yeah.
But if they don't, then that's okay. That's just I also have the option to set up a paper roll on the ground so that they can kind of come and go as they please. But yeah, it's always just a bit of a juggle kind of figuring it out with the dogs.
And
Yeah.
I've always been of the opinion that the best shots are actually the ones when they're not they're not actually paying too much attention. They're just
Yeah.
doing
They're just
their own
being
thing.
silly.
And yeah, if it means that Kenji always looks very serious in all of his photos, he
Yeah,
takes it
he does.
very
He
seriously.
does.
Like if I could put Point Dexter glasses on him, he would be he would be
Yeah.
that sort of guy.
Yeah.
Takes it all very seriously.
Of course.
Whereas the challenge I have with Rosie is she's the complete opposite. She knows that
Yeah.
she's a pretty pug. People have told her for years.
Mm.
And she knows when she sees a phone or a camera that she just needs to pose.
Yeah.
So I rarely get candid photos of her because if she sees me sneaking around trying to, she'll just, yes, the
Pose.
little face goes up and the
Yeah.
chin, and I'll be just
And
like,
that
"Are
little
you
tongue comes out because
yeah,
that's the most hilarious little thing ever.
I know. She's
Yeah.
just, I'm quite lucky that she has a short tongue so it doesn't actually get dry. So I don't have to worry about that. But
Right.
yeah, so it's always this little peek out. And she just knows that she's adorable. And so I have been known one day, I need to set a camera up in the lounge room because because she's a daddy's girl, when she's laying on the couch with dad, he'll fall asleep and then she'll slowly creep up and then curl up on his lap because he doesn't always let her do it because, of course, she then has the chance of like knocking over a drink or something. But if he's really fast asleep, she'll crawl up. And so then I have to crawl into the lounge room. I'm not joking, on my hands and knees. It's actually quite embarrassing because I think all of this so I can get a candid photo of
Yeah.
Andrew and Rosie like
Mm.
fast asleep together. And like I try and film it because they both snore. And
Yeah.
there's nothing funnier than watching a pug and a man snore like in concert. But yeah, if I make one false move and she wakes up, gone.
Yep. Out
It's
of there.
just so yeah,
Instant.
so it's sometimes it's a blessing in disguise. But we had one photo shoot years ago now, like the parent was devastated. They got there and because like we pay for them all to be groomed the day before so they all feel wonderful
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
obviously like with all the lights and everything, like you sort of you don't want pug
Yeah.
snot and all that sort of jazz as
Yeah.
well, which is a
Cool.
beautiful thing about pugs. And, we got everyone dressed up in their first outfits, and you're right, like, when you're doing a professional photo shoot, you are hoping for a particular look,
Yeah.
hoping against hope. The group shots were always my killer,
Yeah.
um,
Chaos.
and this particular pug would not have a bar of it, would not, just crack the shits, and she's like, "Oh my god, she's not gonna perform," and I'm like, send her outside to go and play. And I said, I don't mean to be horrible. She's no good. She doesn't want to be here. I'm
Yeah.
not forcing her to do this. We'll just put that outfit on another dog who's in the mood.
Yeah.
And she was like, but and I went, don't sweat it. I've heard people have drugged their dogs to get the
That's
right photo. And
crazy.
I am like,
No.
no.
Ew.
It's
Those
just
people? No. In the
there's
bin. Straight in the bin.
No, and it absolutely I'm shocked,
Yeah.
like, whenever I heard the particular individual that did it, and, it wasn't for Instagram. Early
Oh,
days of
lucky.
early days of Instagram, apparently, this particular influencer,
Uh,
was reported, I don't know how true it was, but I was like, because people were messaging me going, "Do you drug your dogs?" And I'm like, "No. Who comes up with
mm,
that stuff?" And
that's
then they
crazy.
said so, yeah, so it was just it always amazes me, but, like, some of our like, as I was saying before, group photos, how do you get that to work? Like, we've thrown treats
Yeah.
and all we get is pug bum.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely one of the downsides of throwing the treats into the space. It's just bums. It's always just bums, and you can't avoid
Yep,
the bums. I've found that it's definitely a whole team of people that can pull together a group shot when it comes to animals, and the benefits of my table situation is the walls. We have
yeah,
nowhere else to go, so it's nice because we can kind of, like, wrangle everyone into the
around.
right space, and then they're all having their treats, but like, trying to get everyone looking in the right direction or whatever, always generally chaos. But, but I have been very lucky. The few very large group photos that I've had to do, generally Charnel from Bark Park has been there, and she's so good. And also her dogs are just unreal when it comes to, like, the lineup shots. They have all
Yeah.
been so well practiced on that table as well. They're my test dog for a shoot. I'm like, "All right, where's Kovu? Bring him in. I need to test out this color." So that's always amazing. She's really good at, kinda like I said, pulling everyone together. And then Jenny as well from Proud Pet Slave, she's just
Oh, yes.
hilarious, and she is always always on there, ready to get some photos taken. So whenever I have the two of them in the space, we all can see the same vision, and
Yeah.
it's executed much easier. But no, definitely I think people also, I mean, it depends on the dog, you know? I
Mm.
find that there's, like, a little bit of manhandling that has to happen with them. If it was Frankie, I'm like, I pick her up and I put her down. She's a small
Yep.
dog. She's a very small dog, so I can pick her
Yes.
up, put her down, and be like, "You wait there." And then if she moves, I go, "No," and I put her back in the same spot again. And after a while, she goes, "Alright, I guess I have to stay here. Like,
Yeah.
I can't really go very far, and she keeps putting me back on this spot, so I guess I'll just stay." So, there's a few people that they don't that I guess it depends, like I said, on their dog, that
Mm.
aren't particularly comfortable kinda like, I'll just scooch that little bum in. I'll just be
Sitting,
like, "He's
yes.
in there,
Yes,
just like that
like
little bum,
Rosie on the
all
last
over."
weekend. It
Yeah,
was
just like,
like, "Your tush
"Scooch
is
in."
in the wrong spot,
Yeah,
lady. We've gotta."
just slide that over there. So, and most dogs are pretty happy with just being, like, moved around a little bit. There's, like I said, a few that would be not super impressed,
Mm.
but overall, most of them are okay with that. A little bit of a nudge,
Yep.
which is helpful, and then obviously a treat reward. So they're like, "Oh, they just scooted my bum 2 centimeters to the right, and I got a treat. No worries, easy as." So that definitely helps. We just have to kind of position them ourselves because 'cause they're not always gonna sit exactly where you need them to sit.
So, because it's always been one of those things where the photo shoots that I've had to do, I've obviously had to be there. So it's like directing and saying, "Yeah, I'm happy." That'll sort of work with the aesthetic that we're looking for, all that sort of stuff. But normally, is it easier taking photos of dogs with the parents there, or would you actually prefer it if the parents buggered off?
It's a bit of both. Some dogs absolutely not gonna have a bar of it if their parent is out of the picture. So, generally, my setup, I think, I've kind of tweaked it a little bit and trying to figure out what the best process is, but I found the best process is that mum or dad will pick us up, pop us on the table, and then they just have to step to the side. They have to stand kind of alongside with me, mostly just to make sure that their dog doesn't wanna run away so that they
Yeah.
don't jump off the front of the table because we do like to do
Yeah.
that sometimes. So they're kind of there as a monitoring to make sure that the dog's not gonna bounce down. But then the rest of the work is kind of done by me. I find that there's a lot of people that kind of wanna help, and I know that they think they're helping, but they're not always really helping. We're like, "Oh, here," and they'll grab the treat, and they'll get their dog to sit, and then they're lifting the treat up in there, and they're like, "Great, look at this." And I'm like, "All I can see is your chin and your upper
Chin.
nose. I'm not seeing any of this beautiful face of this dog." So, there's a few times that I'll be like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'll take that treat from your hand, and then I'll get them to look at the camera, and I'll get them to look over here and get them to look over there." So, sometimes dogs are good at listening to me, sometimes they're only good at listening to their parents, but it's more there's some very, very overly helpful parents that don't necessarily help, which is fine, but then there's a lot of people that kinda see it and they kinda get it and they go, "Oh, my hand's really high in the air. We want them to look at the camera," and then they can kind of figure it out with me.
Mm.
So,
I
but
I
yeah,
have
more there
wondered,
is
have you ever thought about getting, like, the carrot stick? Like, the stick with the dangly treat on the bottom?
you know what? Actually, yes, because those ring pops, like those old
Yeah.
school lollipops on the ring? I was like, "I should just buy one of them, have the lolly, that's all for me, that's great, and then
Yeah.
just attach a tennis ball to it." So when I'm not holding the ball, but it's attached to the top of my hand and that's on the lens, so then they're
Oh,
always looking at the
yes.
lens. But I found that it's good 'cause I have pulled so many squeakers out of toys. My
I
little
was gonna
prankster
say.
just disgusts everything. She's like, "I'm gonna rip all of the guts out of all of the toys that you give me to get to the squeaker." So as soon as she does that and finds the squeaker is for me, I take that home with me. And I managed to have a position in my hand that I can hide that while I'm also holding a treat, so they can't see where the noise is coming from, but they're lured towards the treat, but then the squeak is the thing that normally pulls their ears forward and makes them like, "Oh, shit,
I
I'm
can see
happy now."
something.
Like, "What's that?"
Yes.
So, Charnel has the most amazing squeaker toy at Bark Park, though. It's like a little Santa Claus, and it has that, like, high-pitched, gets right into the back of your brain and makes your head itchy kinda sound that that I can only squeak it a few times because when you squeak it, it's one of those giant long squeaks that goes
Yep.
forever. It's a horrendous sound, but the dogs always respond to it. So it's like, if my little squeaker isn't working, sometimes we'll pull out the big guns and be like,
It'll be
"Yeah."
And I'm amazed, like, the one of the posts I've got set up for the podcast when it goes live is actually some video of you with one of our pug friends, Wilbur,
Mm,
dressed up as a pug spider for Halloween.
yeah.
But I love the positioning. You got one hand up in the air, I think with a squeaker,
Mm.
and the other hand is your camera. And I'm amazed that you can do this. You're not even looking in the lens. You're just taking photos one-handed, not e and all I can think is how do you do that? Like, I could never do that. I would get half a face or a nose or something else. Like,
Yeah.
damn, you've practiced.
Well, I guess that's the good thing about technology nowadays is that I can take 1,000 photos, and if only one of them's good, we're still sweet. You know what I mean? So I will take a lot, and there might be a few half faces in there from when we've darted across the table or run over, jumped down here, or we
Yeah.
decided to eat a treat, so, like, we're throwing our head back and we're slobbering everywhere. So there's definitely a few mixed in there that aren't necessarily the iconic shot, but like I said, the equipment does help me a little bit there. The camera that I use at the moment has a little flip out screen, so there's, like,
Yeah.
a little bit of the trick there, so I can flip the screen out and I can look at that from above, and I can drop my hand down, hold the treat up high, still see the screen from 3 different angles, and yeah, it definitely technology has helped me a little bit there on that front.
This is
I've gotta
hand-eye
be quick, but,
coordination at, like, the next level, because my little old DLSR definitely does not have
Yeah, yeah,
that level of skill. But, yeah, that was why I had to film it, because I don't think you ended up doing it with my 3, but I get it. My 3 are a little bit more practiced than the
yeah,
average
they
dog.
stunning.
Um,
We know what's going on, we've been here before, we're
yeah,
professionals. Yeah,
whereas and little Wilbur's only 1 year old. That
yeah,
pug, I forget how much energy pugs have
yeah,
at 1, like,
yeah,
and then I puppy sit for a friend, and I look at Andrew and go, "Why did I agree to do this? This is like I'm exhausted."
yeah,
And they're still going, "Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on." And Rosie and Kenji have hidden. They're under the table. They're like, "See you later. I'm not." So I don't know. It just yes, how you capture. I mean, I haven't seen Wilbur's photos, but I can imagine, and because it's actually probably the lead into my next question. Black pugs. How
yeah.
do you photograph a black pug so that you can like because especially one as young as Wilbur, where at least Kenji's got the white whiskers, so you've got that contrast. How does a pawrent get that contrast with an all black face?
Yeah. I think that one of the benefits of the equipment that I have, again, like I said, it's not for me, this is just the stuff that I have doing all the work for me. The lighting equipment that I have does a really good job of collecting all of that little bit of information with the shine in our coats. So if we haven't got that shine in our coats, we might lose a little bit of detail, but overall, I'm also kind of pushing my settings to be appropriate so that if I have to lift anything in post, there is information that you can still see. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little bit of post, but also mostly just that when I'm shooting them, I might adjust my settings a little bit, to be more appropriate for a black dog. But yeah, the fact that everyone always has beautiful shiny coats that just
Yeah.
reflect the light perfectly around their faces is, yeah, it's just a blessing to me, basically.
Oh, yes. So take note next time you're doing getting your puggy photographed professionally, get bathed the day before and wash their face in the morning.
Yeah.
I
There's
have to
definitely
admit,
a
like,
lot of eye boogers and things like that we're
oh,
always cleaning
God,
up. So
I know, like, pugs are terrible for it, and because Rosie's got no teeth, her nose fold
mm,
is quite large too, so it has to get washed every day, and she
yeah,
hates me for it.
yeah,
But I'm like, "You have a choice. You can have an itchy face all day, or you can have a clean schnoz."
yeah.
So, yeah, luckily as I said, luckily she's beautiful, so she knows it. It's not that much of an issue.
You just need to be, like, ready with the camera. So she's like, "Oh, okay, we're doing this for my headshots. No worries, we've got."
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I'm so pretty.
Yeah.
So, what are the challenges? What are the big challenges of photographing? That's terrible. Photographing a pug.
The challenges. I'd say, you know what? The challenges are minimal. Pugs so far on the list have all just been brilliant, basically. They're small, so they can go on the table comfortably. None of them have been super stressed about being up there either, which is really nice. There's a lot of larger dogs that get uneasy about it because the tables, like, can be a little bit wobbly if they get a bit,
Yeah,
nervous and start shaking the table, then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my
yeah.
god, everything's
Go
moving and I have to
there's an
get."
earthquake.
Yeah, so I'm like, "It's fine, just if you just stop moving, you'll be okay." But I found that the pugs generally, because they're smaller, they're already pretty, like, confident. They're a pretty confident breed. They're not really, none of them that I've photographed have been scared of the flash or the sound of the
Mhm.
camera, so that's been brilliant. They also have short little smushy faces, so my focus is always brilliant. I don't have to, like, worry about,
Yes.
I have a sausage dog, you know what I mean? I'm
Yep.
focusing on the end of her
Yes.
nose and her eyes drop out in the focus, so I'm
Oh,
like, the
yeah.
fact that their faces are flat, unreal.
It's
That's the
actually a
easiest thing.
bonus. Who would have ever I never 'cause usually it's a problem.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely can imagine that it's a problem. There's lots of other health fun things that come along with that, but great to photograph. So, yeah, no, I've definitely found that when it comes to pugs, they are one of the easier breeds that I've found so far.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
they're
And
very,
the
very comfortable.
so how often do you get bum shots with pugs? Because I swear to God, half of mine are always bum shots.
Well, because there's nowhere for them to go on my little setup
Mhm.
on the table, they kind of wanna face towards me the majority of the time. If I do throw a treat in, I'll just wait a hot second until they turn around again. But
Yeah.
then again, they got the cutest little curly tails, so if I got some
Yes.
bum shots, it's not the end of the world either. Yeah,
And when Rosie's in a tutu, it's like a
yeah,
bum shot with a pink frill.
yes, exactly. Fancier. Yeah.
So, we've been sort of talking about your tricks. So, squeaky toys
Mm.
and treats to get, like, that right photo. But do you like, I know sometimes, doesn't always happen, but during a photo shoot, like, we'll take a photo and I will know before I've even looked at the screen,
Yeah,
that's the money shot.
yeah, fully.
Do you get that too? Like,
Oh,
it's
100%.
just
100%. It's so satisfying when especially if they've been acting up and being a little bit silly. Mind you, the silly shots are always hilarious and
oh,
brilliant.
yeah.
I love a tongue shot, and I love the blinking ones because we always look a little bit drunk. I don't know why those ones get me so much. But the tongue shots, if we have the tiniest little bit peeking out or like a long slobbery tongue, hilarious. The drooling shots,
Oh,
iconic.
yes.
So there's always some like really fun ones that come in there. But it is nice when if you're luring them with treats or squeakers or whatever, or their parents there trying to lure them with the squeakers and treats, all of that stuff. If there's too many things going on and they've not even looked at the camera yet, if you just get that 1 second where they look just perfectly and you
Yep,
snap, you just be like, "Yep, done. We're so happy now." Like, you can see it straight away. So,
yep.
yeah, and I mean, the fact that I have it tethered to the computer so that we can look at things on the spot does definitely help. So, if we wanted to get more photos, we just jump back in and get some more photos. It's never a stress like, "Oh, no, we didn't get the shot. We'll just get more shots then."
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
No, I have to admit, thank God for digital.
I know. Yeah,
There is no two ways about it.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, I don't know, like, I would never have done this if I had to pay for rolls and rolls of film.
Yeah, oh my
Um,
god, no, yeah, 24 on 'em, no, it's
yeah,
impossible. Especially how much it costs nowadays too, like, wowee, it costs
God,
you like
yeah, I'm
$40
trying
to
to
develop a roll of 24.
yes, and how do you, like and then having because you had to scan them
Yep,
to then
yep,
make them available online and all that sort of stuff, like,
yep,
I think I spent a couple of years ago, I spent a couple of weeks scanning all my old photos back from my early 20s,
yeah,
and my life in the Navy, and some of them I look at them and go, "Why did I take that photo?"
yeah.
Like,
Those are kind of fun ones too, aren't they? You're just like, "What is this?"
oh,
But that's all you had, like, that was the best part about it is it wasn't just that it's nice to be able to take 1,000 photos for pets because they don't always cooperate, but that's definitely something that's lost on humans nowadays, is that we take so many photos that we don't even know what's real anymore, and
yeah,
that's so sad because we'll have 1,000 photos and you'll take that's the nice thing about the old school stuff. You
mm,
go, "I don't know why I had that photo." But that's the best part about that photo.
yeah.
Whereas nowadays, like I said, you wouldn't have anything like that because, "Oh, we'll just delete it." Like, I wouldn't want someone to see that my face, like, looking like that, or I wouldn't wanna look you know? And those are the best ones. There's so many more memories in the stupid ones like that.
But the other great thing is like, I bleached my hair blonde in my teenage years, yes.
Yes.
Yes, and there is one living photo of that, and that is because my parents decided that that would be the Christmas that we would get a family portrait done. And so, not only is it the only photo in existence still, it's on the wall at home. So,
Amazing.
I know it's
Even
awful.
better.
It is awful. It
No,
is
that's
so
great.
bad.
That sounds hilarious. I feel like anytime you go home, you'd be like, "Oh, there she is. Look at her. What was she
I
thinking?"
I won't go home now.
Yeah,
I'm in
yeah.
denial. Uh, Tori, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking about pet photography. It is a fine art, but I also think that when it's done properly, it is just spectacular. And I've loved all the photos that you've taken of the rat bags over the last 6 months because everyone who sees them goes, wow, they are incredible. Like I've got them on my phones and
Yeah.
obviously on our Instagram, and the new ones will be coming out next week. So if somebody wanted their puppy portrait and they can't get to a Bark Park event, how do they find you?
So basically, because it's a pop-up situation, I'm trying to find little homes and nooks and crannies for me to be jumping into every now and again. I post on Instagram where I'll be in the not too distant future. That's a job
Yeah.
that I have on today, is I'll be posting all of my locations over the next month.
Yeah.
So if you're just following me on Instagram and kind of keeping up with where I might be popping up, there's always different events and different places that I'll be hiding. Otherwise, I also do house calls. So if someone wanted to
Ooh,
get pictures of their dogs and their dogs are, a bit antisocial or like reactive, I can always come to you. I do have like a minimum price for that so that because
yeah.
obviously I have to take all of my nonsense
All
with
the
me
stuff.
and then set it all up just for one photo and then come back. So I do have like different packages and things like that I offer to go and do pet photography at people's homes. That way, their dog can feel comfortable and they can feel comfortable and they can still get something out of it because,
Yeah.
it is unfortunate if there's someone with a reactive dog and they can't just stroll down to the markets when I'm popped up there one day. So,
Mm.
try and make it as available as possible. But anyone that would want pictures, just hit me up on Instagram. That's kind of the home for me at the moment. One day I'll have a website again, and then one
Ooh,
day I'll have Facebook, and then maybe I'll even have a studio. Who knows?
ooh, the sky is the limit.
Exactly.
Oh, or the park is the limit.
Yeah.
The dog park is the limit. Oh, actually, I should, even though this podcast is all about pugs, do you photograph other pets like cats or is it just dogs? I
It
should
has been well, that's the best thing about the name. I didn't call it TD Dog Photography. I called it TD
Yeah.
Pet Studio. So
Yep.
it has been hilarious, some of the animals that I have seen so far.
Oh god.
A woman brought in a baby bat. I didn't photograph it
Oh,
because it was a
wow.
very fresh baby bat, and I didn't wanna, they're nocturnal or
Nocturnal, yes.
they also I feel like daylight in their eyes is probably enough,
Mm.
and then the strobe light flashing on them is probably not the best either.
Oh my a
But I've seen
bat.
little baby bat. I've photographed a few cats, which have been really fun. I photographed a lizard the other day, which was
Oh.
excellent. I'm just waiting for someone to bring a horse in, and then I definitely
Mm.
can't put it on the table. So that's next.
Yes. Shetland pony.
Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, Shetland may be on the table. Yeah, we'll see.
Have you done a Northumberland, one of those really big dogs that are like the size of a Shetland pony? I'm trying to think of their name.
I'm not entirely sure the names of a few of the breeds. I think the biggest breed that I had on the table was like a cousin of the Afghan hound,
Oh, yes. Oh my
with the
gosh.
really long hair, looks
Yeah.
like a giant greyhound. That one.
Oh my god.
And it was huge. It was the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. That on the table, I was like, "What is going on?" And it's
And
well,
they're
its
gonna
owner
fit.
got it to sit, which was very impressive. But they're also a breed that isn't particularly interested in sitting, same as
Yeah.
greyhounds and things like that. So it was, the most, like, uncomfortable, awkward-looking dog you'll ever see,
Oh.
but in a really beautiful kind of way. It was it was really funny. So, yeah, I shot that one, and then there was another dog that I had at a fundraiser that I shot for Vets for Compassion at Pet
Mm.
Barn a couple of weekends ago, and they had I'm not entirely sure what the breed was either, but it was like one of those really big shaggy dogs, kinda looks like the Durex
Oh,
paint
yes.
dog. What are those? Something
I know what
shepherdy.
you yeah, yeah, I do know what you're talking about. Yeah, they were
One of them.
massive.
Yeah, huge. So massive, shaggy dog, but it was brown and it was up on the table. It was pretty comfortable up there as well, and it was on a green that I hadn't shot on before, and it was just gorgeous. I was like,
Oh,
"Oh my god, you are divine." So, I've had a few different shapes and sizes up on that table, but yeah, the biggest one would probably, I'd say, have to be that cousin of the Afghan hound that I shot.
oof.
Yeah, huge.
Wow. That's incredible. People will have to go over to your Instagram page, which is at TD Pet Studios, and all the information will also be in the show notes if anyone forgets, so that they can have a look at all the photos. I think you have got Rosie, Kenji, and Buster in there somewhere as well,
Yep, that'd be
as
wrinkled.
well as all the other puppies that you photograph. So, again, Tori, thank you so much for coming on and talking about pet pug photography and how parents can get that perfect shot of their puggy at least once in their life.
Love it. Thank you.
If you've ever tried to photograph a pug, you know it's part art, part comedy, and all heart. I have experienced diva tantrums where they won't do anything without a couple of treaties first. The "I'm not looking at you" pose, no matter how much you squeak that damn toy. And the moment when I know we've managed to capture their personality perfectly. I bet you've had similar experiences when all you've wanted is one damn photo of your pug looking at you so you have the memory forever, and all you got was tail or a bit of tood. So please share it with us over in our Facebook group, the Pug Life Show podcast. Plus, if you haven't already, please follow the podcast so you don't miss out on the next episode. And while you're at it, leave us a review. It only takes a couple of seconds to give us a 5-star review, and it goes a long way to helping other pug parents find us. Rosie, Kenji, Buster, and I hope that you'll join us again soon. But until then, have a pawsome week, and humans, be generous with the snackies.